Hi, Steve. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
And I'm doing great. I'm here in Iowa and it's a little cold today, but in general, it's not been bad. It's been great.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. Okay, you see, I am quite excited to have you on the show today, Steve. For,
Thanks for
yeah, for some reasons. And you see, oftentimes, I love to thank my guest for two main things. So, firstly, Steve, I want to thank you for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, Steve, I was on this road some months back, and just by the roadside, there was this tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves are dry, and just look all dry. Then I walked past it. But you see, Steve, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around something changed. You see, the mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and instantly I got the urge to move closer and have a good look. Then when I got closer, Steve, man, it wowed me because this time around the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it. Beautiful green leaves, healthy branches, and not just mangoes, but ripe mangoes. So here was I staring at the beauty, and I was excited. In my mind, I was like, now you're talking, mango tree. Now you're talking. The point is, the fact that you dedicated your time and resources to becoming the amazing person that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to say nope to you. And you see, going through your bio, reading about your amazing work and your philosophies and your insight and what you do, man, it's just so amazing. And myself and my audience are privileged to benefit from your fruit of knowledge. So thank you so very much for investing in yourself. And secondly, thank you for being here. I truly appreciate it, Steve. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get
thanks.
started. Yeah. You see, Steve, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. For I believe in order to transition from a chaotic situation to that of a beautiful one, Steve, I believe it takes the application of knowledge. Not just knowledge, but the application of it. And you see, Steve, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge, and darkness means ignorance. I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason why I'm
Nice.
excited to have the amazing Steve on the show is for the sake of the listeners. Steve, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So those folks trust me for quality information. And I'm totally convinced, Dave, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, Steve, let's get
Right.
started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. We're just so curious right now. We want to know how you got here. Then, afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Steve, over to you.
So my background is, I was accounting major, had my CPA, got into financial advising for a while or for quite a while, and then I got into angel investing. Doing a lot of angel investing in a lot of different companies. And I've seen a lot of the same things happening with the business owners. Business owners were struggling with some of the same things all the time. And most of it was the mindset of being that they were kind of almost stuck in the business, that they weren't doing the things that would bring them out of the business. And that was, I think it was kind of in some ways a light that turned on. And for me, it was from being angel investing into private equity. And private equity was, I would say, that was growing companies where I came in. And growing companies is everything from bringing capital in to bringing people and systems. But also, I found that the business owner had to change their mindset. And I think that's another thing, is that a lot of times when I go back to small companies don't have to be small. It's usually the business owner that's small and the way they think. And so I look at it as they have to change the way they think. And they have to think about it as more of a, are they going to be a business owner or are they just going to be in the business? And I think that's one of the things that I come in and play, work with them is change that mindset so that they can be bigger than they are. Because a lot of times I think it's just a matter of just is tweaking what that is, making that jump. In my book, Make the 10X Leap, that's where I start. I start with that. The mindset's got to change and once that happens, everything else on top of that changes. But also that has come, like you had said, is health. Health is super important for somebody that, when as a business owner, they have to stay healthy, obviously. That's meaning eating right, getting sleep, getting great sleep, doing things that meditation, working out, walking, just things that gets them not just their mind, but their body in shape. And I think that's really important. And then when it comes down to then you're looking at is meditation. I've done some things. I did what's called a vision quest, and I think most entrepreneurs really, it would be something that would really resonate with them. It was going up to the mountain and bringing a sleeping bag, a tarp, and water with you up there for 4 days, no food. What really changes on that is the clarity. You don't have a phone, you don't have a watch, but you have time. And all that time is just with yourself. And you really learn about not just about you, but maybe things that you're missing. Not maybe in just your life, but maybe your business. And so that was the other thing I look at is when it comes to trying to make a difference in their company, but maybe make a difference in just their family life, wherever that is, that change, that switch. And that can help. The things like doing things like that. You were saying a learning mindset is really important when it comes to a lot of that. You're willing to want to grow. There's a lot of business owners that they're kind of stuck and they're not, I would say they're kind of in limbo, not really growing anymore. So it's almost like they have to shake it up. They have to make some other decisions. They have to make a different change than what they've done in the past. If they're doing it one way all the time, or if they're, just simple things like, are they always going to the same restaurant, or are they doing the same things? They're going to work the same time, or they get up the same, just things that they need to get out of their normal habits. And, right now, the first of the year, it's the perfect time to do it. And I think that business owners in general, that, habits are not bad, but sometimes you pick up a lot of bad habits or habits that no longer serving you. That's the other thing is you look at habits that maybe no longer serving, and you look at how you're living your life. And that's where I come into the Vision Quest was very helpful in some of those ways for me. Get some really good clarity, and up there by yourself in nature was, that's one of the things I really, you're talking about the mango tree. You really look at some of the things that are out, especially nature. Nature shows you things that for business even, it's amazing what that can happen. In my book, I have one of the things was the beehive. If you look at how a beehive is run, it's no different than a business. There is definitely a lot of similarities between the two. And that's when it looks at that is how that works, how a beehive works, just as like a business works.
Amazing. You see, what you mentioned that caught my attention pretty good was when you were talking about mindset. And I feel like that's it. I tell you. Because you cannot help someone until they are free in their minds or until they get it right in their minds. And I'm a living witness. You see, some years back, all right, I was in I was stuck in lots of, how would I put it, terrible mentality that really kept me to live like a servant. And if you ever told me that I can do what I'm doing now, I would have said, nah, I'm not sure I can because of the informations I was feeding my mind. So it kept me stuck and it made me view myself as someone that, no, I think I'm comfortable here. I don't want to go any further. I'm fine here because I was having issue with my mindset. When I broke out of it, yeah, I began to manifest myself. So whoever it is that wants to transform anyone, I think you need to start from the mind. And that's why your words are really, really, really powerful and shouldn't be taken lightly because you started with the root cause, the mind. So let us talk about capital matters, all right? Can you help us understand the intricacies of raising funds? You got that?
Yes, I think raising funds, bring in investors. Now, I look at the investors that I work with are individual investors, and family offices are another group that I work with. And so you bring in high net worth investors that will invest in companies. I present companies that I believe that are going to grow a 10x, that I can get at least a 10x for them. That's one of the things I look at is there's a lot of business owners, especially I think opportunity right now is especially attuned is that if you look at what's going on right now, the amount of companies going to be turning over the next 10 years is pretty great. You have, I would say, 58 to the 75-year-old right now is kind of ready to either sell their company or they've been thinking about it and they don't have anybody that wants to buy it. And so the opportunity is to go and buy those. So bringing in investors. Now, the other thing is too, a lot of those companies can be next right now. That maybe the business owner, for whatever reason, there again, I go back to the mindset. They had a mindset of, that nobody can do it as good as them. Nobody, that they've grown as far as they can go with it. Well, I've seen a lot of companies that, they can go from that 10 million to 50 million without, a lot of change, that it made some tweaks, but it's possible. And so the idea is bringing in investors, raising money, capital to bring investors to grow that company, to buy the company and then grow it, that you can grow it to the next level. So maybe it needs people, or maybe it's systems, or maybe it needs software. It's a lot of different things.
Think I got that. Thank you for that. Okay. So let us talk about your book, all right? What inspired you to write the book, like the driving force, and how did you conclude on that particular title?
So I had a good mentor, and a mentor was one of the things he said, if you want to become an authority figure, what's the one thing you should be doing? And that was, write things that you know about and write it in a book form. And he was really impactful in the sense that he gave me an idea that I never thought about writing a book. 5 years from now ago, you would have asked me, "Hey, Steve, you're gonna write a book?" I would have said, "Nah, that's not me." But I see a lot of the same things over and over again that business owners were doing, and it's almost like they have to get out of their own way. And that book was the start. I look at it as, and make the 10x leap. I think I looked at basically a title of a book that really resonated with me and my readers. And the readers, I believe that is the thing that they can do, is they can 10x their company. And that is why I wrote the book. I wrote the book just because I was seeing all the time the business owners were doing the same things. They were stuck they were doing the things that they were familiar with, and they didn't know how to get out of their own way. They were spending time. There's a lot of business owners that spend very little time at home, because they just don't have the time. They spend a lot of time at the office, and they're not home 5 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the afternoon or evening. They're just not available, and they're not available as a husband or wife. That's because they've been so busy in their job, and so that they lose touch with people. I think that's the thing is that, and then it's a matter of what do you need to do to get yourself out of that and do some of the things that you want to do besides just being at the office all the time. And that really comes down to finding the people to replace you. That is, I look at companies a lot of times, the entrepreneur is doing 5 or 6 different things and they should be only doing 2. And all they have to do is bring in one person, maybe 1 or 2 people, and replace them from doing that. But what happens with that is people are like, well, I can't afford it. Well, you can't afford not to do it. And once you do things like that, you'll grow it. I mean, it just happens. So you grow just by bringing in the right people. The other thing that a lot of business owners say is, well, I can't find anybody that can do that as good as me. That's not true. I mean, if you tell yourself that, what happens? It's going to happen that way. It comes down to the mindset again. Continually you say, I can't find anybody that can do as good as me. You're not going to find anybody to do as good as you. But if you think that, hey, I can probably find somebody that's better than me, you'll find them. You will find them. So it always comes down to the one thing, that mindset.
Very true. Very true. I got that. So to bring this to an end, Steve, what would you like to leave the audience with? Like a final thought. And to those folks who like to reach out to you, get your book, learn more about everything we've talked about, how can that be possible?
I think the one word that comes up to me a lot is be bold. Be bold and not be afraid to take the risk that you're thinking about doing something completely different. Just do it. I think that's the one thing I look at is the mantra that I have is be bold and take action on that. And so the other thing is, if you want to get a hold of me, just go at Steve at bisonequitygroup.com. My book is on Amazon, or you can go to my website and order on that. Make the 10x leap. And my website is bisonequitygroup.com too.
Beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, Steve. Thank you for coming.
Great.
And
Thanks a lot.
thank you for blessing us with these amazing words, man. It means a whole lot. Thank you.